rolling bridge. So the purpose of this exercise is to kind of practice that articulation through the spine, meaning movement of one vertebra at a time. So typically when we move the spine, we're not used to being so precise and literally moving one bone at a time. Instead, it's kind of like we move it in a very block-like fashion and several vertebrae kind of all move at the same time. And so this is a way to really get, again, very fine-tuned, very precise, and to be able to literally articulate one vertebra at a time through the spine. So that's the idea of this, as well as kind of de-exaggerating some of those curves that tend to develop over years and years of, maybe poor posture or a lifestyle and that sort of thing. Okay, so we're going to start laying flat with our feet flat on the floor, the knees bent. Okay, so just like this. And the first thing that you'll want to do is you'll want to try, if you can, to imprint the spine, especially the cervical spine, so the neck area. This can be a little bit difficult. For a lot of people, this is one of those exaggerated curves that tends to become more exaggerated over time. And so you'll really need to tuck in your chin, lift the crown of your head toward the back of the room, and see if you can get your neck, back of your neck, as close to flat on the floor as possible. It's okay if it doesn't quite touch, but just try to kind of aim in that direction. Now, when we roll up to this bridge, this is really important. You want to kind of imagine that your tailbone is the first thing that's going to peel up. So right now, you should feel the tailbone, or at least the vertebrae that are right above the tailbone. Those should be sitting pretty firmly on the floor. Can you feel that? Can you feel some contact of the very lower part of the back, kind of into the buttocks, with the floor? Okay, so that's going to be kind of the first thing that peels up. So imagine taking your tailbone and kind of like tilting it upwards. And now the tailbone is facing that corner of the room. And as you begin to lift and peel the buttocks off of the floor and the low back and the mid back, can you see this? We're rolling up, but we're trying to literally get just one vertebra at a time to lift off the floor. Okay, so it's a little different than just kind of like popping haphazardly up into a bridge, right? Okay, so let's try that again. From the floor, we're going to tuck the tailbone under, kind of tilt the pelvis back. So a little bit of a pelvic tilt so we can get that tailbone at the right angle to start heading up in this direction. And really focus, see if you can try to, again, feel every bone lifting separately off of the floor. And we want to keep lifting, keep lifting, keep lifting until we reach the very upper part of the back. And this should put us into a bridge position where we have a pretty straight diagonal line between the knees and the shoulders. And then we can hold this for a little while. Depending on the kind of the strength in your glutes and your hamstrings, that'll depend on how long you're able to hold it. Let's take a nice breath up here. And then let's start to peel down in the same fashion that we came up. So it's one vertebra at a time. So now focus on the upper back and try to feel one bone at a time coming back to the floor. So you don't want to rush through this one. You really want to take your time so that you can feel that articulation through the spine, feeling the one vertebra at a time, and the whole time trying to keep the neck imprinted. Because a lot of times when we start this, the neck will want to kind of pop up like that, okay? So keeping the neck imprinted, we keep peeling down. The other kind of difficult spot here is through the low back, because we have a natural inward curve there. So again, try to see if you can push each of those vertebrae into the floor separately until you get to the tailbone, and then you can release. So let's try that now twice in a row, so 2 times up and down, and we won't take any breaks in between, so we'll make it just a nice, fluid, smooth flow of movement, kind of getting that, again, that articulation through the spine. So to prepare, again, we're going to imprint the cervical spine and the neck. We're going to reach the fingertips down for the heels so we can get the shoulders down away from the ears, starting out with really nice alignment. Inhale, prepare. And exhale, begin to tuck the tailbone under, tilt the pelvis back, and peel the tailbone up off of the floor. followed by those very, very lower vertebrae in the sacrum, and then up through the lumbar spine, one vertebra at a time. Into the thoracic spine, one vertebra at a time, lifting up. And we're going to keep lifting through the thoracic spine until we feel like we're kind of resting on the very upper part of the back. Okay, try to lift the hips if you can a little bit higher. That also gives a nice stretch here through the hip flexors, and those often get tight. So it's a good stretch for those. And then we're going to peel down one vertebra at a time, same thing. Really take your time here, go slow. Keep everything engaged. We should be scooping the whole time too. Press each vertebra down through the lumbar spine separately. Don't let a block of bones come down all at the same time if you can avoid it. And inhale, prepare. We're going again right off the bat. Okay, so tuck under and lift with the tailbone. Try to exhale here as you lift. Get all the way to the top here. Press through the hips, squeeze the buttocks. Inhale, prepare. And exhale, begin to peel down one bone at a time. You're doing awesome. That is looking great. Really focus, articulate, especially through that lumbar spine. And once that tailbone touches, you can release and relax. Great, so again, that was called the hip rolling bridge.